I need to show up and be willing to have a conversation, and I need to be showing up willing to listen and not just spout my volatility that I'm most passionate about. Then we can have a conversation where, okay, we're both going to listen, we're both going to respect each other's belief systems, even if we don't agree. I'm going to respect your belief system. I'm going to respect your ideas. And I'm going to listen to what they are, and I can respect them and not agree with them. I think having a conversation about COVID is an interesting conversation. We just have a conversation about having the conversation. Okay, what do we imagine that conversation would look like? Bring into our awareness the various conspiracy theories, or talking to someone that has it, or talking about it. I know that I'm planning this trip to Mexico, and there's health considerations for people traveling. We got to get tested to be there. Do we wear masks? Do we not wear masks while we're there? How are we going to manage any health concerns arriving in Mexico and being with a group for a week? So there's some real logistical questions. Now, just like there's a practical thing, do I require everybody to be vaccinated before they come? Or not, because I want a least likelihood of the spread of COVID for the people who are there and for anybody that they then might spread it to going back if they get it. Assuming somebody shows up and has the virus and it does get shared, and think through that possibility. It's not 100 people, it's not 1,000 people, so it's not a mass spreader event. But we'll just use this COVID situation and pandemic as a way to look at belief systems, as an example, a topic to look at belief systems. All right. What's the mind doing? Why does the mind do what it does? A COVID situation, infectious disease going around. And then you have people who say, yes, it is and isn't. It is a thing, or it's not a thing. And then you have belief systems about how it should be treated. You have people taking positions at how the guidance in public health was a mistake, and therefore we can't trust them at all. Then you have opinions and beliefs about the vaccine being a problem for health concerns, or microchip tracking, or it's a way to control the mind and control you, or it'll kill you, depending on your extreme about a vaccine. And then you have people who say it is a thing. And these people who aren't wearing masks or don't want to get vaccinated, they're endangering our health, and they're keeping things from being open. So now they're restricting my life. And so now you have these very polarizing narratives. And people wanting to say, well, I'm in this camp and this is who I am, and even getting their identity enmeshed in that belief system, various ones. From it's a hoax, it's not a thing, to it's a very serious thing, I'm afraid I'm going to die from it. And a whole degree of spectrums, and about what public health is doing. Can it be trusted? Can we trust the vaccine? And problems with the vaccine, just those ideas. So we have one thing that's a half dozen major themes and different sides of the belief system. The mind can get very busy with all of that. So when we say, okay, I want to talk about this, we have enough information to know, wow, there's people on both sides of each one of these issues. Say there's 5 or 6 issues. If I bring it up, my mind's going to do this thing where it says, what I'm going to imagine what will happen. And what it does is it imagines clash, 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 clash. Fair enough? And then what is our response to this imagined conversation is typically, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to go there. I do not want to activate a conflict. I do not want to activate somebody's fear. I do not want to activate their discharge of their belief system of fear and anger and injustice that they feel. And so I'm not going to have a conversation. And what we've done is we've stopped talking, communicating, and connecting. And we let the idea of engaging get infected with fear and the idea of that it will become bad. And now we're more disconnected. We're safer. We've avoided something that we've imagined will be uncomfortable, but we're more isolated and we haven't solved it. So that's the first level of the problem. Okay. And that level of the problem is I think important for us to first understand before we can have a conversation. What's our hesitancy to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation about that. Because we have to see that our own mind, our own assumption, and our own avoidance mechanism of chaos and emotional pushback is something I want to avoid. And our own automated response of avoidance is part of the problem. Okay. Part of the problem is, yes, there's people who are so emotionally charged that if you bring up any one of these related issues, or you bring up one issue, they will go to their most charged component. You bring up the COVID situation, they will go to their most charged emotional issue about it. They'll no longer talk about infections. They'll no longer talk about people dying or hospitals. They will go to what their biggest fear about the vaccine, their biggest injustice about wearing masks, their biggest concern about policy, their biggest emotional charge about how it wasn't enacted soon enough and careful enough, what their biggest fear and injustice and anger issue is. They will move along the scale of topics issues to that because they have difficulty holding their attention to, well, let's talk about topic A among these issues, right? So you have this other component about how to have a conversation, particularly when some people can't hold their attention and be present with a singular topic to explore it. And so hence, the yes, I'm going to avoid having a conversation because it's like just turning on the radio, and it's like in the movies where it jumps between channels and it gives you a little bit here, a little bit there, and you're not having a coherent conversation. So the ability of people to hold their attention and sit with what's going on and explore whether it's fact or opinion or evidence and evaluate it as, okay, this is truthful or this is suspect. We're not getting to that level of the conversation. A, we're avoiding it, and B, because some people can't evaluate it with another person. Why is that? It's the incredible attachment people have to their ideas, or the incredible attachment their ideas have to them. And go back and think of the ego mind belief system as a parasite that is running a person's mind, telling them what to think, how to think, creating the emotions for them. That parasitic belief system is not allowing them to direct their attention, be present, and explore the ideas themselves to see, do I want to keep this one or let this one go? Okay. So even the idea of, hey, I don't want to bring this up because there'll be volatility in the conversation or somebody might react and discharge, that idea has a hold of us. Preventatively, I don't want to stir things up. I don't want to cause a ruckus. That idea, I'm going to avoid the conversation, can have a hold of us for our own best interest. Oh, I'm going to maintain peace and calm, but then I'm also not going to resolve any issues and differences. Okay, so we can see how that protective, helpful idea is also like, okay, do we want to do that or not? What are the consequences of not having a conversation? So how do we get to a solution of all working together and coming to understand each other, respect each other, respect each other's belief systems? These two steps are in the way. I need to show up and be willing to have a conversation, and I need to be showing up willing to listen and not just spout my volatility that I'm most passionate about. Okay. Then we can have a conversation where, okay, we're both going to listen, we're both going to respect each other's belief systems, even if we don't agree. I'm going to respect your belief system. I'm going to respect your ideas. And I'm going to listen to what they are, and I can respect them and not agree with them. So this is the avenue of whether it's a COVID and protocols and a vaccine and the science, or whether it's a political issue that we don't talk about anymore because you don't bring it up, or economic wealth inequality, or social justice, or drug laws, or homelessness. Okay, whatever is the topic, there's emotional charge that people have to it. It's like, okay, I'm going to bring up something uncomfortable, but it's more important than ignoring it and dividing ourselves in isolation.